Wallis Simpson, the woman for whom a king abdicated. In 1936, King Edward VIII gave up the British throne for Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee. The establishment called her unfit to be queen. The press mocked her as a social climber, and the couple were forced into exile. Their love was treated not as romance, but as scandal that nearly destroyed the monarchy. Yet history turned their story into legend. Edward's abdication became the ultimate symbol of choosing love over duty. Wallis herself became an icon of style. Her Paris gowns, jewels, and even the famous Cartier Panther bracelet cemented her image in fashion history. Their relationship later inspired countless cultural works, from biographies like The Heart Has Its Reasons to films such as W.E. directed by Madonna, and the award-winning series The Crown, where their story is retold for new generations. What once was mocked as weakness and scandal is now remembered as one of the most dramatic and enduring love stories of the 20th century. Frida Kahlo. Love that survived betrayal. Frida Kahlo's marriage to Diego Rivera was one of the most scandalous in art history. He was 20 years older, a famous muralist, and notorious for his affairs, with actresses like Maria Felix, models, and even Frida's own sister, Cristina Kahlo. The press mocked her for enduring humiliation, calling their marriage destructive, but betrayal became the source of Frida's greatest art. After Diego's affair with her sister, she painted The Two Fridas, 1939, two versions of herself, one loved, the other abandoned. In Self-Portrait as a Tejuana, 1943, Diego's face appears on her forehead, showing how inescapable he was in her thoughts. And in Self-Portrait with Cropped Hair, 1940, she depicted herself in a man's suit, hair cut short, a defiant response to separation. Despite constant turmoil, Diego later admitted, "The greatest fact of my life was Frida." Their stormy, ridiculed love is now seen as the force that shaped some of the most iconic works of the 20th century. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. From mockery to admiration. In 1968, 5 years after President John F. Kennedy's assassination, Jacqueline Kennedy shocked America by marrying Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis. Once admired as the grieving First Lady, she was suddenly mocked. Headlines called her Jackie O. Critics accused her of betraying Kennedy's memory and marrying for money. Tabloids portrayed her as cold, calculating, no longer the symbol of American grace. But with time, her decision gained new meaning. Onassis gave Jackie something she had lost: security and protection. After years of threats and the murder of her husband and brother-in-law Robert Kennedy, she wanted safety for herself and her children. Aristotle's wealth and influence allowed her to retreat from constant political danger and live in relative peace. Today, historians see the marriage not as scandal but as survival. Jackie preserved her children's future, later building a respected career as a book editor in New York. What was once mocked as opportunism is now viewed as a woman's bold, pragmatic choice, protecting her family in the face of relentless public pressure. Elizabeth Taylor, the love everyone laughed at. In the 1960s, Elizabeth Taylor began her most notorious romance with actor Richard Burton. They met on the set of Cleopatra in 1962, both married to others. The press called it immoral, Vatican newspapers condemned them as sinners, and tabloids mocked their public fights and extravagant lifestyle. Their love was branded excess, not devotion. Yet their story refused to fade. Elizabeth and Richard married twice in 1964 and again in 1975, divorcing in between but unable to stay apart. They starred together in 11 films, including Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? A performance so raw it won Taylor her second Academy Award and immortalized their turbulent passion on screen. Burton wrote hundreds of love letters, describing Elizabeth as his eternal flame. What the world once ridiculed as scandal is now remembered as one of Hollywood's greatest romances, stormy, excessive, but unforgettable. Their bond became a symbol of love so consuming that it burned even brighter under the weight of public judgment. Yoko Ono, from scapegoat to partner in legacy. When John Lennon fell in love with Japanese avant-garde artist Yoko Ono in the late 1960s, the world reacted with mockery and hostility. Fans of the Beatles blamed her for breaking up the band. Newspapers portrayed her as manipulative, an outsider who had bewitched Lennon. She was mocked for her experimental art, her accent, even her presence in the recording studio. For decades, her name became a synonym for destructive love. But time transformed this judgment. Lennon openly credited Yoko with expanding his artistic vision, inspiring songs like Imagine and their joint projects, such as the Bed-Ins for Peace in 1969, which turned their relationship into political performance. After Lennon's death in 1980, Yoko preserved his legacy, curating exhibitions, releasing archives, and continuing their activism for peace. Today, cultural historians recognize their partnership not as a scandal, but as one of the most influential unions in 20th century art and music, a love story that reshaped both Lennon's career and the cultural politics of an era.